Well, I think I just went live and did not know that I was live. So give me a second to just verify this. And if that's the case, then we just gonna roll with it. Um, 1 second, 1 second. Yeah. so so I'm live. So let me go ahead and get started and explain. So Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Season 15. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that you guys are joining me. I'm glad to be back. It's a lot of new things that are in store for this season. This stream here is really just a quick recap of the game. We'll go over a few stats, let you know my opinion, but really the big meaty part of what I do. I'm going to start doing a new show on Mondays, which will allow me a chance to watch the tape. And let me just say, I almost by default have to do that this week because here's what happened. I'm not at the games. I haven't been fully vaccinated. And watching here in Charlotte on WSOC TV, for half the game was pretty much a no-go. And I'll be honest with you, that kind of ruined my spirits for watching the rest of the game to really be able to pay detail because I feel like I just lost so much in the earlier rounds, earlier quarters of the game. But nevertheless, going to go through this a little bit. Also, still getting the home studio set up properly to give you the right look that I want to see. So I think this screen looks a little bit more blue in my face than I want it to look. Yada, yada, yada. But let's go ahead and get into this. And since this started before I was ready, I got to get to my information. All right, so Carolina Panthers are now 0-1. Preseason matchup, first game was against the Indianapolis Colts in Indiana. Carolina Panthers held the lead most of the game, but fell in the last seconds. Final score in this game, Carolina Panthers 18, Indianapolis Colts 21. So let's go over a few things. The biggest thing to watch in this game was the quarterback race because you knew already, based on all the reports, that the starters got most of their plays and doing the back-to-back practices against the Colts. Kind of got a feeling that same thing's going to happen this week as they take on the Baltimore Ravens because they'll have the Ravens this week down in Spartanburg for those games, for those practices, I should say. So you would imagine the game next Saturday may have the same effect, if not, a little bit of maybe the starters play one or two series. But nevertheless, the biggest thing to watch in this game was the quarterback matchup. Will it be P.J. Walker? Will it be Will Grier? On the depth chart, they listed it as both of these guys as a number 2, which to me is laughable. You're not fooling anybody there. It's a race. Why not go ahead and put a little pressure on one of the guys and say, hey, you're number 2 and you're number 3. You're number 3, you're number 2. But P.J. Walker got the start, and he got the first half in, and he looked pretty good to me. It was something that he said during the post-game press conference about running the ball more. And I don't know, he to me, I liked the times that I saw him scrambling with the ball and looking downfield. But again, I have not went and looked at the tape, so I may see the times that he's talking about where he could have pulled the ball down and actually ran the ball and didn't. So I think that what this indicates, though, is that he's a very coachable quarterback, and that's something that you got to love and got to have. If you have all this talent to run the ball, but you've been told, hey, make sure you look for the pass first, and you do that, rules told him today, like, hey, go ahead and run the ball. Anyway, I think that's something that's very positive for P.J. Walker's future as a player, if he's that disciplined as a coach. But Will Grier got in, different discipline. Did I say as a coach? If he's that disciplined as a player. Will Grier took over in the second half and had a lot more duress that he was under, more so than P.J. Walker. So I feel like you can't get a great look at him. So hopefully they'll put P.J. Walker as a third, and they'll move Will Grier up to second to give him a look with those number 2s instead of the number 3s. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stats from today's game. Go ahead and look at some of the stats from the quarterback, since that's the group that I was talking about first today. And, wrong. There we go. Now we got it right. Again, first week may have a few errors here, but P.J. Walker was 10 of 21, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and 89.6 passer rating. And then Will Grier was 6 of 10. So I would say, it's not too far off. It was not as accurate, but 6 of 10. Only had 31 yards passing and he was sacked one time for 2 yards, 65 passer rate. So again, he was under much more pressure than P.J. Walker was. Let's go ahead and talk about the rushing and Chuba Hubbard. Man, I said his name wrong. It's actually Chuba. Hadn't got the pronunciation charts to help me out, but Chuba. Let's go ahead and take a look at Chuba's performance today. He led all running backs with 80 yards off of 7 rushes, most of it coming from the 59-yarder, and which I felt like he had a little, not that I'm saying he was Barry Sanders, but it had a little Barry Sanders-esque to it, which I thought was pretty cool. Spencer Brown, 9 carries for 25 yards, and then Darius Clark, 3 carries for 10 yards. And here you'll see, and I didn't even know this during the game. Again, I kind of got distracted by not being able to see a good broadcast of the game, but Will Greer rushed more than P.J. Walker, rushed 3 times for 8 yards. So there's a little bit of the offensive side. Let's continue on with the offensive review by taking a look at the wide receivers. Mr. Marshall Jr. led everybody with 88 yards receiving on 5 targets. And then next up was David Moore and Tommy Tremble, both having 4 targets, 2 and 3 receptions respectively. But pretty much it's a pretty big drop off, as you see there, after Terrace Marshall Jr. So what was interesting to see, and you kind of figured during the broadcast if you were watching, Steve Smith saying, hey, I think Tommy Tremble took that ball from Omar Bayless. P.J. Walker confirmed that in the post-game presser, saying that that ball was intended for Omar Bayless, and he didn't even see Tremble coming, but I guess he was just coming full speed. He said the ball hit him right in the chest, and then there you have it, voila. Nevertheless, it was a touchdown pass for P.J. Walker, 6 points for the Carolina Panthers. And again, I mean, this game, I feel like we looked okay for most of this game. A lot of our points came from field goals. All right, so field goals. We had, I think he was 4 or 5. I didn't print that stat out to go and say it for sure. Joey Sly went to work, and sometimes you go to think like, why did they do some things in the preseason? Why are they kicking all these field goals? Why aren't they being more aggressive? But they need to evaluate all parts of the game during the preseason, even though sometimes it can be a little agonizing as a fan to watch. So overall, no, you don't want to see Joey Sly have to go out there 5 times and kick a field goal, but you do want to see the results. It's preseason. And they gave him a shot at kicking a long 63-yarder, and he missed it to the right. And he almost missed a kick previous to that to the right. It wasn't nearly as far. So I like that Joey Sly got out there, got to get some repetitions. I feel like when he looks back, and I didn't bring my water with me, that he's gonna have to tune it in a lot more for me this year with the focus and with the consistency. Because you have a big leg, but it's not going to matter if you're not consistent. And I think that he probably will hear that from a coach before he hears it from us fans. Like, I have to be consistent. No matter how strong my leg is, I got to make the little shots. I got to have consistency. Penalties. We had quite a few penalties today, and I don't think I printed this stat. So just listen here, and I'll tell you. We had 10 penalties. I know Coach said we had too many penalties in the first half. We had 10 overall. And that totaled 64 yards. The Colts only had 8 penalties. Red zone efficiency was horrible, which is why we saw so much Joey Sly. We were only 1 of 4, just 25% in that red zone efficiency. Again, this wasn't our starters, but I'm just critiquing the game for who was out there playing today. That's not going to get you many games. Turnover battle, we won. That's why we were able to be so competitive in this game, winning the turnover battle as we did. I'm sorry, I did not get that stat in front of me. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly while I'm talking with you guys. And let's see. I won't take more than a second if I can't quickly find it. I don't feel like I'm going to quickly find it, but we did win that turnover battle. I know at one point I think we were up 3-0 in the turnover battle, which is when we had the lead, and then the Colts just started marching back. Didn't like the fact that it was, I think it was near the end of the first half, we went into this like prevent defense, and we were letting the quarterback scramble. And get in position for a score. But again, preseason, right? Third down offense, pretty bad. 3 of 14. 3 of 14 on third down efficiency. So that was only a 21% conversion rate there. So Coach Rule said most of the day he feels like they just beat themselves. And today was about making sure that every player that was available to play got to play so they could do some evaluations. They will have to cut the roster down to 85, which to me is kind of strange because you're only dismissing 5 guys. That's not a big cut down. But it's just part of the whole evaluation process. So appreciate everybody for joining me here on this broadcast. We will have lots more shows. Things will pick up. My vaccination will be complete in 2 weeks, so I'll be able to get back to the things that you guys love and that I love. So, hey, thanks for watching. Chris Jenkins, credential member for the media, covering the Carolina Panthers. Enjoy your weekend.